And it looks like we are live and in person. It's me and Mark back again.
Once again.
With some Long Box Crusade Creators Spotlight. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jarrod Alberich. Say hi, Mark.
Hello, Jarrod. Hello, everyone. Thanks
for guess what? Guess what? Surprise. Boom. There's Dr. G.
Surprise.
Our anchor is here. Our anchor is here. Nice.
Hello.
All right. We have got our anchor, Dr. G, is in the house, and we got some good stuff coming your way this evening. Right now, everybody gets to watch me. We are now live on all of our streams, and I'm going to go ahead and retweet that on Twitter so everybody will know that we're here. So anyways, we've got, of course, Mark is here, and he's got his pencils, and we got Dr. G, and he is our anchor. He's the latest addition to our team. And boy, do we have some cool stuff for you tonight, because in a few moments, we'll, of course, bring in our Creators Spotlight. And man, we're going to be talking toys tonight. But let's do our official introductions. We have to, because I made a banner for it. And I want to welcome, I see some people coming in and joining. Hey, everybody, thanks for stopping by. We welcome you to hop into the chat. We have a real friendly chat community here. Actually, quite proud of them. Everybody gets along real well, and we definitely welcome you in to ask questions. Looks like we lost Dr. G, but he may be back in a minute. Let me officially introduce Mighty Mark Hatherley, live from Bermuda tonight.
Hey.
Mark, that looks like a shipwrecker page right there on your...
Yep, this is actually page 29.
I like it.
We're getting there. Past halfway. So.
That's right. You're looking at your future, Dr. G.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm trying to make them as clean as possible for Dr. G, and that's just sometimes I can get pretty sketchy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, I'm. It's the same way. I think we're. It's a learning curve. Like, it's kind of like interpreting what you want to put there, and I'm trying to be like either lean into my heavy blacks or leave some room for texture for the colorist to do something.
I'm a heavy blacks kind of guy. When in doubt, black it out.
I like the dark shadows, and like I said, don't be afraid. You know what I mean? Obviously, you're following the line as close as possible, but where you can make improvements, make improvements. That's what it's all about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and the good thing is I'm inking it digitally, and then layers, so it's easy to remove it and redo, without having to reprint the whole thing and start from scratch.
Not doing it like old dumb Jarrod does. There's a page I just inked for Cold Lightning. I think inking everything traditionally because I'm a moron.
I still want to do that as well, because it's nice to have that piece of. I'm a physical media guy. I think you should still have physical ephemera, for the art, and the idea that there's a piece of that comic that the artist's hand actually physically touched, that you could potentially possess in the future is that's a cool piece of art for me. So I'm happy to be able to generate those. But for this first one, since I wanted to do a lot of experimentation, I was to kind of feel out my style. I was let me do that digitally, so I don't have to redo hours of work.
No, that's cool, and we're happy to have you on board.
Yep.
I definitely want to say hello to some of our regulars in the chat already. We've got Kathy's here, Pat Sampson, DJ Cristados, the founder of the network himself, is here, and Courtney, of course, is here. We don't do shows without Courtney.
No, we can't.
So I just wanted to shout out to all those folks. And so quick shipwrecker update, since you got most of the team here. Of course, I'm the writer. Mark doesn't do anything, actually. And
I just sit on my thumbs all day.
Jokes. Mark is clearly the penciler. And Dr. G picked up the inking duties, which I'm really appreciative of, because frankly, I'm doing too many projects. So I'm glad to have a new person on board anyway. I think it'll make it more fun.
Hey, it's a huge help, believe you me.
Yeah.
Help.
So while he's working on 29, I have the latest one I was going to share with everybody. The latest one in our share. I think this is 28, might be 27. You probably know better than me, Mark.
I have that I think is 27. I have 28 that I just have to drop into the.
Oh, okay. So there's 27.
This is actually 28 here. So you can.
Oh, let me get that out of the way so we
yeah,
can see
but
you.
yeah, that's
28.
Let me try to zoom out a bit.
And I'll give you a wider shot.
Yeah,
Actually, let me do this. Wait, let me get crafty. And boom, there you are.
Yeah, so that's 28. My light's not the best, so I'm sorry, folks. But
all right, so 28 is also done. He's working on 29.
Pretty much done, yeah. Cool.
Awesome, awesome. So that's your latest and greatest from us. So he's working 29, 28's done. That is 27. I pulled out the latest one from the share because we like to give our viewers a sneak peek.
Yeah, keep you interested. Hopefully,
that's right. And we'll like I said, like we've said in the past, we'll push these more and more as we get closer to finishing, and when we're ready to get the Kickstarter. You're going to start hearing a lot more from us. But we're those kind of guys that basically want to have everything finished before we start pushing everything.
Yeah,
yeah.
There we go. And I just see our friends chit chatting. No questions for Shipwrecker. If you got questions about Shipwrecker or making independent comics, you can always put those in the chat. But for now, let me switch my banner. It's time to talk to our creator spotlight. We've got something exciting today, folks. Exciting, I tells you. Who all's excited?
Oh, I'm very excited, actually.
All right.
At this point,
bring up his banner. We've got Ryan Magnon from Alternation Toys, and there he is. Welcome to the show, Ryan. Ryan makes action figures. Everybody take a minute to just think about that.
That is awesome. If you ask me.
Oh, Ryan's on. He's muted. Maybe I can unmute. Ryan, you're on mute.
I did. I had a joke and I lost the moment.
Oh, we lost the moment.
Yeah.
Just everybody trust him. It was funny.
Look at my face. Believe me.
Oh, he did his hair up nice for us tonight. I'll tell you what.
And I wore the lemon shirt too.
Well, welcome to Logbox Crusade Creator Spotlight, Ryan. We're really excited to have you here. We've had other artists, we've had writers on the show, we've had musicians on the show. We've never had a toy maker. So, Ryan,
here we go.
Tell us the story, man. How did it come about? Give us your story.
Well, the funny thing is, yes, I imagine you do have a lot of comic artists and comic creators, and I didn't feel like I could compete with them. So there's a lot of great independent comics being made, and I didn't see a lot of independent toys being made specifically for kids. There's there's been a lot done on Kickstarter for 14 and over crowd, which that's where the safety testing cutoff point is.
Okay.
But not everything when Toys R Us was around, I saw on the aisles that on the action figure aisles, it was DC, Marvel, maybe some Ninja Turtles, maybe some Power Rangers, but everything was a very old brand. So I thought, oh, well, there's a market differentiation there that I could exploit and bring some new action figures into.
That's how it started, huh?
Yeah.
That is how it started, yeah. And so we started with Alternation Toys. Actually, it didn't start right there. We actually talked to kids first and said, hey, what would you like to see in an action figure brand? And then that's how we came up with Alternation Toys. We talked to probably 100 kids, got their feedback on features and designs and stuff. So it was a lot of fun.
Very cool. I tell you what, we'll do a take turns asking questions thing, and I'll probably take everybody's turn because that's what I do. But I'll start. Mark, you be thinking of a question. Dr. G, you be thinking of one after that.
Yeah.
Mine's going to be kind of specific. Are you familiar with? There's this. I wish I could think of it. There's a new line of toys. I just spotted them. It looks to me like they might be like Dollar Tree exclusives, and I've seen a few people posting these figures in there. They're sort of sci-fi almost. There's like bad guy aliens and military good guys. It kind of feels a little bit, I don't know, like almost like aliens, but more fun for kids. And as soon as I saw that new brand, and it started making me think, hey, this is kind of cool, like the Alternation guys. Is that something that you've noticed, or is this news to you? Am I surprising you here tonight?
Well, it's the dollar store. I've seen an exclusive brand for dollar store, and it was military themed, and I think it was called Alpha something or other.
That might be it.
It was like a yellowish. Yeah, it's cool.
I'm gonna Google it while you guys while you're talking. But So since I got us off track early, Mark, go ahead with your question, and I'll see about
Sure.
those toys.
First of all, awesome making toys. I wouldn't know where to start. My question is, as far as quality and safety, how do you meet the standards? That to me, I always found is one of the biggest things, especially safety for children. You know what I mean? So that's basically my question.
Yeah, the great thing about that is there are companies out there that's all they do is just they look at your toy and make sure that it passes the safety standards. There's different, the EU, the US, Canada, they all have different standards.
All right.
So you can just tell them which ones you want to meet, and they'll advise you and things that if it's too brittle and it breaks and it could have a sharp edge or even choking hazards, all that stuff. And then you can also tell them which age range you're going for. So as I mentioned before, there's 14 and over, there's very minimal restrictions. But when we're the 3 and over category, and that you have to account for choking hazards, like too much velocity in projectiles, things like that. Sharp edges, of course, pokey edges.
Yeah, because that seems like so it's not that big of a challenge because you have this or somewhat to do like most of the work.
Yeah, the figuring out what's wrong isn't the challenge. The costs involved, I guess. Everything costs kind of money. So if you want to try to catch everything ahead of time and kind of be aware of well, my toy probably can't shoot flames, to just use an obvious example. Although I do remember having He-Mans that. Yeah. I do remember having a Masters of the Universe character that shot sparks, I think. That was like 40 years ago, so who knows.
Yeah, because I find it tricky because a lot of things I've learned in life the hard way is once trial and error is you can't cover everything. And one thing about the general public, they accept the challenge. You do something and they'll find a way to mess it up, you know what I mean? So you have to be very careful, yeah.
Yeah, it is a great timing.
That's good stuff.
Chola just dropped a comment. I was just saying, Chola just dropped a comment on the screen that goes right with that. She said, everything's a projectile to my 3-year-old.
That's right, exactly.
I have a funny story about everybody figures out a way to do it the wrong way, but I lost my train of thought. Anyway, yes, we had a one character that his feature is he does a backflip, and so to do that we have spring-loaded legs, but he still has articulation in other parts like elbows and wrists and things.
Right.
But I'm getting this huge return rate on Amazon for it, and I'm going, what is this? Everyone I started personally checking them before I sent them out, to see why it was breaking. And I finally figured it out that people weren't reading the directions, that they were going against the resistance. And, they probably just given it to their kids.
Right.
Here you go, go play with it. But there's this mechanism inside that you can't just move the limbs around like a normal action figure on certain joints, So
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I started putting a giant warning with all the boxes. Don't try to... we will replace it for you whether or not whatever happens, but please don't go against resistance and try and break this thing.
Exactly.
Gosh, there's so much you have to think about.
Well, that's right. Exactly. I mean, because toys, doing things on a piece of paper is one thing, you know what I mean? But when you actually got physical parts, then that's something totally different all within itself.
Yeah, that was part of why we that was another reason why we started with toys rather than something like comics or animation. It was just it is so daunting that it did seem like we'd be able to stand out more with new stuff. Because it's such a challenge. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Cool. All right, Dr. G, you've been waiting patiently. What do you need to know about alternation toys? Well, I'll what people would probably love to see kind of what they look like. So I'm going to put that up real quick. Ooh.
Now these are the two we're running for the Kickstarter. We already have 6 available in our first phase. This is our second phase where our 2 big bad guys. So Alpha, he's our big bad, and he's kind of like a Dracula type character. He's got that sort of influence. His influence is kind of the big driving force of his personality. trying to influence people towards nefarious means, of course. And then Bummer is his kind of lackey, kind of his Renfield of Dracula fame.
Okay, very cool, very cool.
Yeah,
all right. I'm sorry about that, Dr. G, but I want people to kind of visualize what we've been talking about. But please proceed, sir.
Okay. So, so my question actually is sort of kind of like, how did you get this started? So you decided to approach like the kind of the market from the toy version area instead of like a comic or which I guess eventually couldn't become a comic and a cartoon down the line, so that's good. And but so what did that take? Like, did you already have someone who's like good with like the play action engineering, or what's the learning curve and the kind of like the business curve as someone who also would like to do something like that themselves in many ways?
Yeah, I can cover all that. I started out with a very much of a business product design approach, and I learned that just from reading about how product design works, and I spent a good amount of time on that. 6 months to a year, just how does a company bring a product to market, and just a generic product, not necessarily toys. In that same amount of time, I was still networking with people within the toy industry and going to conventions and just talk. And I had a background, very minor background in character design and stuff. And there was a lot of crossover with some of my teachers and other people in character design that knew people who used to work for Hasbro or I guess Mattel was another one, and Jax and all them. So yes, I was able to network with people who had seen it all. There had been a lot of changes since with all the digital revolution stuff. Some of the folks I was talking to were older, and so I was able to bring them into some of those like changes of doing business from analog to digital. That was neat. And then the rest was trial and error. We made mistakes, but from what other folks I've talked to in the industry, we didn't do too badly as far as production mistakes. With the timeline, I was really concerned that, this is taking 18 months to get to market. And from what I learned, that was kind of normal. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. And then, they also, going back to the networking and things, they had, just knowing people, they were able to put me into contact with reputable people that do engineering and factories and things like that.
We got maybe the best question ever in the chat from the Duchess, who is always welcome here. Would you make a toy to reflect the main character in the Shipwrecker comic book? I like how you brought it all together.
I think that's actually one of the stretch goals of our Kickstarter. So if we can get...
If only it was true. But hey, we know who to talk to if we decide Shipwrecker toys might be cool. We know who to start with. He'll know some people.
If the stretch goal is big enough, I will take that on.
Here's a good question from Pat. Founder of the Long Box Crusade Network. We wouldn't be here without him. What is the big changes from old school toy making to current day sort of digital toy making?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's not just toy making, it's the whole toy industry, really. So of course there's a change from digital modeling, whereas back in the day they would make toys out of sort of like a waxy material and actually carve it, and I don't even know how they turn that from like a physical sculpture into the injection tools. I imagine it's probably a similar way, but now that's all done digitally. You make a 3D model, same way you would for an animation. It probably has a little more detail than you would in a 3D animated digital sculpt, and they take that information and use cutting tools like hot lasers and just electrodes and things like that to physically cut steel into a mold. So that's all done digitally. And then the other aspects of the market changing is just that influencers were a big thing. All the digital content, kids moving away from Saturday morning cartoons and even just cable in general. The market to kids, that's different. I'm sure there's other stuff I'm not thinking of, but yeah, it's really just the whole internet and digitization of creative work. I think has revolutionized the toy making industry. Yeah.
Do you feel like it makes it more accessible? It's sort of like, YouTube, everybody can have a show now. Do you feel like if anybody put their mind to it, they can make toys?
I think it cut out a lot of costs for sure. Yeah. So if you don't have to physically hire a sculptor I don't know. The short answer, yes. I think it does cut out a lot of time and expenses, and just the fact that you can do everything theoretically rather than create a physical representation of it first is going to cut costs. Excellent. And it does make it more accessible too, because there's less of a learning curve with the internet, that you can just talk, you can meet people and talk to people, and you don't have to necessarily fly to your factory in another country,
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Awesome. Now you've got a Kickstarter going on. I've put the address right there. So, hey, everybody watching, go to www.alternationkickstarter.com to check out what he's got going on. And the current Kickstarter, now correct me if I'm wrong, you jump in any second when I screw this up, is for the latest 2 figures, right?
Right.
Alpha and Bomber.
That's right.
And there's already 6 figures in this series. So these are 2 more coming out.
Yep, that's correct. 6 figures already out, already available. You can buy those now, or you can buy them through a Kickstarter if you want to get the whole set, or you want to get, variants. There's some exclusives that are only available through our Kickstarter.
Oh, very, very cool. One thing that I don't see here, and then we'll do another round of questions. I'll shut up for a bit. The scale, how tall is Alpha or Bomber?
Yeah, good question. They're all 1/12 scale, so a 6-foot character would be 6 inches. But Bomber and Alpha are pretty tall. Even though they're 1/12 scale, I think they're around like 10 inches.
Oh wow, that's pretty big.
And yeah, there are super deluxe figures. Our normal figures are around 6 inches. These guys they're bigger, they're badder.
All right, let me see if we got. And yeah, I think there certainly must be. This must be one of those things where you send it off. We got a question in the chat. List of approved type of materials you use. Yeah. Yeah,
that's absolutely the case. That was the other thing I was going to mention earlier, that when I lost my train of thought, there was the regulations are always changing too. So that's kind of why it's not really wise to even try to do it yourself. You do what you can to know about the regulations and the approved materials and choking hazards and things like that, but they are constantly changing, so you can't really it's not wise to try to keep up with it. But yeah, all your typical plastics and fabrics and what else do we use? Paint. Those all have certain. It's not so much about the material; it's about the thresholds inside of them. So there's, I don't even know what they're called, palfalits or something like that. There's a certain and obviously lead and paint. There's these thresholds that they'll test for, and make sure that you're not exceeding them.
Very cool. All right, Mark, you got a question?
And thank you, Courtney.
So, as far as purchasing these toys, how does one go about? Are they available for sale yet, or?
Yeah, the 6 in the first phase are available at alternation.toys. It's not .com, it's .toys.
Cool.
There should alternation.com was taken.
Hey, mate.
Wish I could be creative. But, alternation.toys is you'll see all the character bios, and there'll be links to the store.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Alternation.toys.
Yeah, I gotta write that down.
Yeah, you can see the first 6 from there. I don't know if we're able to. I should have.
Alternation.toys.
Should have mentioned that before we started, huh?
I'll tell you what. I'll look those up while Dr. G asks his questions, and I'll find some pictures of the toys that are available.
Yeah, and on Amazon too. If you search Amazon for Alternation or Target or
okay.
Yeah.
So kind of away from the business now about the toy itself. So tell us about the Alternation world and the characters. Like what?
Yes.
So what's the play story to go with these, and what are some of the action features that you ended up putting into your characters?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to go over that. That's a good question. So Alternation covers the story of GK Delta. They're a set of 5 part animal, part human soldiers. They were created in a secret military experiment off the coast of California. Only they don't know that they're experiments. They think they were just born this way. So part of it is there's sort of I was always into like in the WWE fights, they would do triple threat matches. I always thought that was really cool, where it would like 3 factions totally hated each other. So in our story, there's the sort of powers that be in the military that are doing things the wrong way. Yep, there we go. That's an old picture of them, by the way.
I can try to do better.
No, that's okay. That was our prototypes, by the way. And you did great, because we're actually giving we're selling some of those as prizes in the Kickstarter. So there you go.
All right, I'll work on a better one while you're explaining the story.
And yeah, so we have these. There's the good guys, and then there's the sort of there's the shadow government sort of conspiracy kind of thing going on with military doing nefarious things. And then you also have evil hybrids like Alpha, who kind of escaped from the military, and Sabotage, who just doesn't like all this new wave of soldiers coming in. And we took the story to we have the story in comic form in each of the toys. Comes with a mini comic, just like the old He-Mans and Superpower.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel that's standard practice for all toys.
Yeah. Yeah, well, especially when you don't have a TV show. And we also got picked up by Dark Horse. They did a graphic novel. We've done our own short stories. We do an ARG game where people can uncover the secrets of the story on their own through a website, and that's at gkdelta.navy. When you go to it, it even like makes it look like you're hacking into a military base or military web server.
Oh, is that explains your Twitter?
Yes.
The Twitter for Alternation is it looks like it's been hacked or something. It's very clever. It's very clever.
Yeah, that was our kickoff for that.
Very cool. I'm just looking up more pictures of stuff. So you may have addressed this, and maybe I was just not focused enough because I was looking at pictures. But you mentioned that everyone comes with its own comic. Do you write them, or is there another writer? And if you mentioned that already, I'm sorry. I was looking up.
No, it's fine. We had one of my partner wrote them at the time, and then Tim Seeley did the one for Dark Horse. And then I write a lot of the short stories, the more not prose form, anyway, longer form, regular illustrated stories for kids.
Okay, yeah. Cool. That's pretty cool that you got Tim Seeley working on that. He's worked on some G.I. Joe comics we've covered here on the network. I think he did some Nightwing work, Hack and Slash. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, it's him and Mike Norton did the art.
That's a good idea too, having the comics along with them, you know.
Yeah,
that's enough incentive to get you to buy one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. We also did some webisodes, 2-minute shorts of each character. Right. So yeah, that's on YouTube. I'll just look up alternate. Yeah, there we go. That's
How's that? Is that better?
Yes.
I went right to your webpage and grabbed it off the banner.
Yeah,
that is so cool. There's a lot of variety there.
Oh, and yeah, and you'd asked too about what the features are. Somebody did. I don't know if it was you, Jarrod, or you, Dr. G, or Mark, or you, Mark. But anyway, the guy all the way to the right, he's the leader. He actually lights up, basic lights and sounds. He's more of a, we don't want, some people just want that articulation. We kept his play feature very minimal. Same with the guy to his left, the monkey. His name's Albert. He has a bendy tail, and he also has a lot of fun accessories because he's sort of the class clown. One of those accessories is an in-scale whoopee cushion that actually works. Yeah, so world's smallest whoopee cushion if you buy Albert 7. Next,
will love that.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a cute little toot. To his left, I'm going from right to left for like a manga, but anyway. The guy Sabotage, he's the cyborg. He's our villain of Wave 1. Lights and sounds. He has a spring-loaded arm that punches when you just pull it back. Dart, I mentioned he does the backflip. That's the frog that's red. Mm-hmm. To his left is Sham, the secret agent. We're not sure if he's a good guy or a bad guy. He's kind of a double agent. He has a switch-activated tongue that goes in and out, and it can pick up accessories with it.
Oh man, that's cool.
His skin changes color under temperature.
Oh man.
The last guy all the way to the left, Quillroy, he's part porcupine, part bat, and he shoots his quills out of his back with some buttons because kids love projectiles. As you can also see, he has a cool flail that has a real chain, and because he's kind of the tough guy of the group. So.
Very, very cool, man.
Yeah, because I wouldn't even think of trying to attempt to make toys. I have to be honest with you.
I know, right?
It seems pretty intimidating to me.
I tend to overdo things a lot. You know?
Well, that's how you end up on Creators Spotlight.
Yeah.
You make some cool stuff. I also finally found, and I want to be very, very clear to our audience here, these are not Ryan's toys. I was just trying to remember those ones that are at Dollar General now. They're called Final Faction. Oh, okay. And that's what they look like. They're kind of like G.I. Joey. And anyway, nothing to do with what Ryan's doing. It just bothered me that I couldn't remember. So that's fine.
No, I liked a lot of those toys as a kid. If they're at the dollar store, they're probably I would not be able to make dollar store toys.
Yeah. The profit margin has to be nuts. You have to be at such a large scale that it'd be insane.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit more about your Kickstarter because I want people to go do that. And let me put your Kickstarter banner up. Where did it go? I'll find it. There's Ryan. Up there it is. Boom.
Cool.
So I'm imagining, I haven't fully examined the Kickstarter page. I'm imagining there's probably a tier where you could probably back the 2 new toys and get all the ones that are already available in like one big set.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. What would that tier cost somebody?
Oh man, I gotta.
Oh, if you don't have it memorized,
on the spot, okay. It's somewhere around $200. Sorry.
Okay.
$188, I think, for all of them.
All right, and if some people are going to jump in and grab them all. Some people might want to go onesie twosie, and you're saying that those are available at Amazon and Target.
Yeah. Amazon and Target.com. Somebody I think in the channel asked, are they available in the physical Target store? The answer is no. It's Target.com through one of our distributors.
Oh, okay, very cool. So there you go. Find them at Amazon. Find them at Target.
Walmart.com too. Yeah.
back them on the Kickstarter, and if you go for that high enough tier, you get the whole set.
Yeah.
Boom, right there.
There's some variants, and yeah.
How much time is left in your Kickstarter?
This is only our second day. I actually scheduled this interview around, we had originally were going to do an earlier interview, and I said, you know what, I could use some extra time on the Kickstarter when you said that. So.
Yeah. Peek behind the curtain. Ryan was actually our scheduled guest for last month, but if you remember correctly, Ron Randall's Kickstarter was starting that day. And so I asked Ryan, would you mind if we help Ron out? He said, no problem. And apparently he used that time to his advantage.
Yeah. So you always got to be thinking about marketing, guys.
Exactly.
You can't just be creators.
Yeah. You're definitely right about that.
And yes, to answer Courtney's question, I didn't want to put it in those words, but yeah.
Courtney's
they're affordable toys, okay?
Oh, Dr. G, you've been quiet for a while. What you got, man?
Oh, well, I had something for a second. Actually, I was looking for the questions that had come up. Are you planning to have any female characters in the line?
Yeah, we have some in the in the graphic novels, and that's part of what we want to do this Kickstarter for. Is just if we can get the original toys we promised, we'd like to bring out some of those characters as well, and they would have play features. We already have the play features planned out, so we wanted to do some. We have a dragonfly. She's part dragonfly and sort of a ninja assassin. Her name's Hopper, and her feature would be flying. You know, so hey, this is the first step. Getting this Kickstarter going.
I don't know. Of course.
And then somebody mentioned, I think, a female cyborg. There was we also had we wanted to do a flying female cyborg as well.
Man, so many. That's the cool thing though about your universe is it's so kind of bonkers creative, which I love. There's you can go a lot of different ways with all these new characters. That's got to be fun. Exactly. It's got to be fun to do that.
It is, yeah. And it's also fun just like exploring what's possible, because you get a lot. That's the other thing about the industry I don't really care for is there's a lot of pushback to going outside of the box, or as the cliche goes, outside the box, but really just pushing the envelope. People don't. You get a lot of resistance for that or cynicism about it. So. It's what's nice to be around other creators. It's more the marketing folks, you know. And it's like toys aren't done that way. Nobody does it that way, and it's kind of like, well, how do you know it's not going to work? And there's no answer.
Right.
Awesome.
And so, how's the reception been to the toys? As as far as sales and whatnot, you have a lot of interest in these toys in particular.
Yeah, we're doing great on Amazon. That was the big thing. Like, we basically had the shutdowns happen right after our Christmas launch. So we were all kind of like, 2020 is going to be our year. And something happened, and that didn't happen. So we switched to an online-only strategy, and that actually, I mean, we were kind of prepared for that anyway, because Toys R Us went out of business as we were developing the toys. So we were kind of like, is retail like going to be destroyed, or what's going on?
Yeah.
So we were kind of preparing for that. And then the other part of your question, the response, one of the things we're really proud of is we actually got nominated for Toy of the Year from the toy industry, which right out of the gate, we've gotten some other awards. Yeah, it's been really cool. And then all the reviews have been really positive too. So we've gotten a lot of support from the sort of action figure community that's been really humbling. Yeah.
Very supportive.
Yeah. My question was about the alternation. Your staff, digital can make you be successful with a small amount of people. Do you have a small group of people, or do you have a lot? Like, about how big is the staff there at Alternation?
We just recently moved, so we shifted. Some of our staff in California moved on to other things, and I kept 2 people besides me right now. So but the bulk, even then, it was like 2 more people. So we had about a staff of 5 at our peak, and the rest were all freelancers. So that's kind of what we've always done, was just to be very nimble and very run lean.
That's
right.
Yeah. We found our artists were all freelance, sculptors. Factory, of course, was not, wasn't us personally running the machines.
Yeah, because you want to keep everything manageable as well.
Yeah, it's nice. You're not sure exactly how long you're going to need people, so you don't want to try to do anything long term.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Courtney, if this is true, we're moving to Canada. Toys R Us apparently is still open in Canada, Courtney.
It is. In Hong Kong, too.
Oh, man.
There you go.
Not where I need them.
Yeah, exactly.
Shola said that she recently saw Toys R Us, but I believe Shola lives in Europe. And I might have actually been to that Toys R Us that you're talking about, Shola. I've been to one when I was in Germany not too long ago.
Nice.
Oh, very, very cool. All right. Anybody else from the chat or Mike or Mike? Who's Mike? We don't have a Mike. Mark and Dr. G. If you try to say Mark and Dr. G at the same time, it comes out Mike for some reason. If you guys have any questions, I'm going to just check the chat real quick. And Ryan, you can fill up any empty airtime plugging your products.
Oh, hey. www.alternation.toys. Find us on Facebook, Alternation Toys. No, anyway, yeah, no, honestly, this is like we have tons of ideas for not just action figures, but for, different brands altogether, different categories of toys. And this is like kind of our big moment to see, okay, can we do a Kickstarter successfully, and if so, we can do that in the future to not only pay for a new toy, like fund the production of them, but to test to see what the world wants. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Courtney asks, "What's for dinner?"
That
leftover meatloaf.
that is our classic.
Today,
Yes, Courtney's asking our classic sort of end of the show wrap up question is always, what is for dinner? And everybody, it looks like you got leftover meatloaf there at Alternation headquarters.
Yep.
We've got beef kebabs is what we've got tonight. What you got going, Mark?
I hope pizza. If my boys left me, son.
So nothing. Mark's got nothing. Dr. G, what do you got tonight?
We will probably be getting tacos tonight.
Oh, because it's Tuesday.
But,
do you mind if I go into some of the questions I see in the chat? Just
go ahead.
Go for it, yeah.
Time frame on toys. We did about 6 months of concept testing, and then I can't remember. I think it must have been around 18 months to start modeling and all that, and then get it actually into the U.S. And that could vary. It could be it's a year to 2 years. So, what are your toys? Oh, how do we come up for the idea for the animals? I ended up looking for just weird animal powers, and because that was kind of what the kids were giving us feedback wise. They were saying they just think powers are cool, and we kind of wanted to base it in real science. So I would look at just unusual things animals can do. We ended up having a concept that didn't get picked up of a big sort of mollusk character, and he was also part shrimp, or we didn't give it a gender, but and so it was going to have like a mantis punch. I guess they can punch at supersonic speeds or something.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that punch. Yeah.
And he was going to like be able to go into his shell and stuff too. But yeah, anyway, the kids didn't like the way it looked. Maybe that character will come back someday.
Yeah, well, you have adults that like kids as well. I mean, like toys as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing with regard to female characters. Before we launched, we thought, well, this is just something for kids. Adults are into like the same old stuff. We didn't, really think that this would resonate with adults. And then after we came out, we found we had all these adult fans that were saying, "Hey, where's the female?" So there you go. Yeah. We listen to the feedback.
And it's good that you're doing this, because I noticed that most toys now you have to pay a fair penny to get something decent. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you have a lot of toys, coming out of China. I mean, not to cry out China, but they fall apart really, really fast. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then a lot of these stuff that I would be interested in, it's you pay a lot of money for it. You know what I mean? For something of some kind of quality.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of just the price of production just seems to be going up with raw materials. Yeah. Then there was also, there's also the fact that a lot of the toys you're looking at in stores are licensed characters. So the people that are producing those toys are building in that cost of not only the license, but the guaranteed sales of.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. And it's always all the factors in there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if something costs a penny, usually you have to charge 5-6 pennies for it. That's generally the conversion. Yeah,
exactly. Hey, that's a great thing you're doing, man.
Well, and that's the other thing I wanted to mention. My email address is ryanmagnan@pandemoni.toys. I know we have a lot of creators on the channel, and you guys, anybody that wants to reach out, I'm always accessible. Just
right.
If you have any questions, you want to pick my brain about something, I'm happy to do it. And I really do like the creator community sort of independently working from the studios, because I do feel that the big studios aren't aren't really taking a lot of risks anymore. So
Right.
somebody else has to do it, you know. So.
Yeah, I will just on a personal note, I think that's the most exciting part about your toy line is that it is insanely creative, and you don't see that. You don't see insanely creative anymore. You know,
Thank you.
It's you know, it's been like the 80s when people were making like crazy stuff like let's make Mad Balls, you know, and I still love Mad Balls, you know, like why not, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I was struck by that too when I watched the old Thundercats recently, and it's a great, by the way. But it's super bizarre. It's just like that would never get made today. It's like
exactly.
these cat aliens leave their world because it's about to blow up, and I don't know. It's a very complicated story that would have gotten dismissed right out of hand today, I think.
Yeah. And do you guys like take ideas from like general public, or like you say you have an email, like do you take ideas from people, or like if someone comes up with something? I mean, I know that's a touchy thing because I mean somebody might want to claim rights to something and whatnot, but you know, if somebody had an idea of a specific type of toy, like how do you go into that area?
I don't personally do that. I have so many on the back burner that that I've already got that covered. But I mean, what I am looking for is somebody that kind of to work in tandem with us. Like, hey, we'll do the toys, you guys do the cartoon or whatever. So that sort of relationship I'm always looking for. I can't really listen to the other thing is, like you said, the legal, you kind of alluded to, the legal reasons are that there's not a lot of benefit for me to, and there's a lot, on the other hand, there's a lot of liability from listening to somebody else's idea. Yeah.
And it blurs up and then we'll claim right.
Yeah. Well, even if like, the common thing is that like, well, we could already have like had that idea, and somebody else would say, no, but you heard me talk about it, you know?
Oh, right. Yes, exactly. All right. Just curious, you know, I'm not putting it.
No, happy to. I try to be honest about that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what it's all about. Yeah.
Dr. G, you had that. I have a question about you a moment ago. Did you have something there? I was watching you.
I really more comment. I just really wanted to say that like I really like, one of the things I like about the toy line is it has a lot of has a Ninja Turtles energy to it, you know, and I think I really like that, and a lot about that, and you know, and then of course you have like the mini comics in it, so I can see like the Masters of the Universe influences as well. So there's a DNA of 80s toys there.
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, you nailed it. We took all the stuff that made us excited as kids and tried to put as much as we could in there with still having a reasonable price for the toy.
Yeah.
So anybody who stops by, you know, even if they're not here live, if they're watching it later on, you are currently looking for partners. Anything specific? Sounds like you might be looking for some animators. Is there anything you're looking for that you want to get out to the public via this, if you can?
I mean, it's not a. I'm not actively looking, but that's the sort of solicitation I'm totally open to. If somebody says, "Hey, we're an animation studio. Do you want to, do something together?" That would be great. Yeah, comic creators too. Like video games, those are.
Oh yeah, good. Yeah, make a cool video.
My whole thing is, what if we could do something to where like we handle the toys and somebody else handles the sort of content that inspires wanting to buy the toy, so that we could focus on what we do well and they could focus on what we do well, what they do well. But I'm not like right now. My priority is just, hey, let's get this. Let's not have this Kickstarter fail.
So, exactly.
So it's
you're here, folks. Go back to Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I think you about got me convinced. I think I'm gonna have to look into these toys, and my wife's gonna be like, "Are these for the boys?" I'm like, "No."
There's an option on the Kickstarter to buy 2 sets. So there you go, the boys and you.
There you go.
You can leave one in the package. I don't know.
Well, I think it's great that you've already made as many characters as you have.
Exactly.
You're clearly just marching forward on this. And just as a reminder to everybody, there's what's up now, and he's got 2 more to add to this series. That's the main focus of the Kickstarter. But you can get all these plus the Kickstarter guys, various tiers at his Kickstarter. So check it out. Check it out. All right. Anything else? Anything from looking in the chat? I think we got all the main stuff. I love how Ryan picked out the questions that I missed as I was scrolling through the chat. We make a good team. He might have to come back every week to be the chat checker.
Yeah.
Anything else from Dr. G or Mighty Mark?
I'm pretty well covered.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Mark, speaking of covered.
I just want to say congrats and good stuff, man, on what you're doing, because I grew up in the 80s and I love to play with toys, and it's the nostalgia that you're bringing back. You know, I miss a lot of this wholesome toys that we used to play with, you know what I mean? And you mentioned Saturday cartoons, you know, that struck a nerve, you know what I mean? You don't have that type of thing anymore, you know what I mean? So my boys will never really fully experience what I did as growing up as a child. So I just think it's great. And I want to say thank you for what you did.
Yes.
Oh, that's very kind of you to say. Thank you very much.
Hey, no problem.
Yeah, Dr. right, man. You hit the energy. He's got that energy, man.
Yep.
It's colorful. It's bonkers. It's so cool. So cool. So everybody out there in viewership land, thanks for stopping by. You know, the usual YouTube things, you know, like, subscribe, all that jazz. And we definitely want to thank Ryan for being here and sharing that with us. And we wish you all the best on the Kickstarter. And hopefully we're able to help out in some small way at least.
Yeah, we try.
It's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, no problem. And we'll check everybody out there later. I've been Jarrod Alberich with Mighty Mark from Bermuda, Dr. G all the way from Arizona, and of course Ryan himself, who's recently relocated to Tennessee, I do believe. So
yeah, we're out near Franklin.
We're all spread out. But thanks for being here, everybody. And again, check out that Kickstarter. And you can hit up Ryan if you need to talk to Ryan and you need his email or anything like that. You know where to find us at Longbox Crusade. So we'll get you hooked up. So thanks again, everybody, and we will catch you next month.
Yep. Thank you.